Do you believe in God?
Me?
Creator?
Yeah, so the more I look at the universe, just the less convinced I am that there is something benevolent going on. So if your concept of a creator is someone who's all powerful and all good, that's not an uncommon pairing of powers that you might describe to a creator. All powerful and all good. And I look at disasters that afflict Earth and life on Earth. Volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, disease, pestilence, congenital birth defects. You look at this list of ways that life is made miserable on Earth by natural causes. And I just ask, how do you deal with that? So philosophers rose up and said, if there is a God, God is either not all powerful or not all good. I have no problems if, as we probe the origins of things, we bump up into the bearded man. If that shows up, we're good to go. Okay? Not a problem. There's just no evidence of it. And this is why religions are called faiths, collectively. Because you believe something in the absence of evidence. That's what it is. That's why it's called faith. Otherwise, we would call all religions evidence. But we don't, for exactly that reason. So I'm given what everyone describes to be the properties that would be expressed by an all-powerful being in the gods that they worship. I look for that in the universe and I don't find it. So I remain unconvinced. But if you've got some good evidence, bring it, bring it, okay? And so I don't lead with that information because what I believe should be irrelevant to anyone. Accusatory way. Are you atheist? You know, the only ist I am is a scientist, all right? I don't associate with movements. I'm not an ism. I think for myself. The moment once someone attaches you to a philosophy or a movement, then they assign all the baggage and all the rest of the philosophy that goes with it to you. And when you want to have a conversation, they will assert that they already know everything important there is to know about you because of that association. And that's not the way to have a conversation. I'm sorry, it's not. I'd rather we explore each other's ideas in real time rather than assign a label to it and assert you know what's going to happen in advance. So what people are really after is, what is my stance on religion or spirituality or God? And I would say if I'd find a word that came closest, it would be agnostic. Agnostic, a word dates from the 19th century, Huxley, to refer to someone who doesn't know but hasn't yet really seen evidence for it, but is prepared to embrace the evidence if it's there, but if it's not, it won't be forced to have to think something that is not otherwise supported, okay? There are many atheists who say, well, all agnostics are atheists. Like, okay. I'm constantly claimed by atheists. I find this intriguing. In fact, on my wiki page, I didn't create the wiki page, others did, and I'm flattered that people cared enough about my life to assemble it. And it said, Neil deGrasse Tyson is an atheist. I said, well, that's not really true. I said, Neil deGrasse Tyson is an agnostic. Went back a week later, it said Neil Tyson's an atheist again, within a week. And I said, what's up with that? And I said, all right, now I have to word it a little differently. So I said, okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson, widely claimed by atheists, is actually an agnostic. And some will say, well, you're not being fair to the fact that they're actually the same thing. No, they're not the same thing, and I'll tell you why. Atheists I know who proudly wear the badge are active atheists. They're like in-your-face atheists, and they want to change policies, and they're having debates. I don't have the time, the interest, the energy to do any of that. I'm a scientist. I'm an educator. My goal is to get people thinking straight in the first place. Just get you to be curious about the natural world. That's what I'm about. I'm not about any of the rest of this. And it's odd that the word atheist even exists. I don't play golf. Is there a word for non-golf players? Do non-golf players gather and strategize? Do non-skiers have a word and come together and talk about the fact that they don't ski? I can't do that. I can't gather around and talk about how much everybody in the room doesn't believe in God. I don't have the energy for that.
They asked you, what do you think about God? And you said, I remain unconvinced by any claims anyone has ever made about the existence or the power of a divine force operating in the universe.
I would have said something like that for sure.
Right. And, since
then... By the way, just to be clear,
yeah.
What's probably missing from your extracted quote is the setup for that, which would be, is there a particular God you have in mind that you want me to comment on?
Huh. Okay. I missed that.
Because if you go online and in a Google search, you type God's worshipped by humans. There's a tally of all the gods ever worshipped by humans in the history of civilization. And it just goes screen after screen after screen after screen. So when you say, do you believe in God? Which God? Is it Zeus? Is it Poseidon? Is it the Jewish God? Is it the Christian God? Because the Jewish God from the Old Testament is filled with wrath, okay? All right, and smoting and smiting and whatever the past tense verb is. And so, and the New Testament, God is kinder, all right?
A little nicer, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So you look at all of this and say, is that the God you want me to comment on? Or is there some other God? Typically, it's the Judeo-Christian blend there. In that context, I would say in my studies of the universe, I value evidence, and I don't see evidence for any kind of active intelligence or power over anything.
Yeah.
But if you had evidence, show it to me. I'm all in.
Well, you said you don't like to be labeled an atheist, more agnostic.
Yeah.
And the definition of agnostic is a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God.
Yeah, I'm not
or of anything.
Agnostic comes closer to what I am than atheist does.
Yeah.
But all of that rest of that baggage that agnostic carries is off the edges for me.
Okay.
So the reason why I disavow the atheist title is very simple. The most visible atheists today say things, do things, and think things that I don't do.
Such as?
They're quick to use CE and BCE when referencing dates on the calendar.
Okay.
CE, Common Era, BCE, before
Christ.
They have eschewed the BC and AD. That makes a religious reference. I totally celebrate AD and BC because the calendar that we currently use, the Gregorian calendar, what came out under Pope Gregory, who figured out that the leap day system of ancient Rome doesn't work. You have to adjust that. And so they adjusted it and corrected the calendar. A whole lot of astronomical analysis.
Right, because there's no zeros in the Roman calendar. In the Roman numeral system.
Zero was not invented yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's not the only reason. Yes, because Roman numerals, you cannot represent zero with Roman numerals. Interestingly, I don't know if you've ever thought of that.
Yeah.
There's no zero there. So it's not just that zero got invented afterwards. It's that the relationship between the day of the year and where Earth is in its orbit was more precisely defined, or rather, where the sun is in its orbit around Earth. We were still largely, among many, we were geocentric at the time. But it doesn't matter if you're accounting for time frames. Point is, if they put in the hard work, I'm going to respect that. And I'm not going to sweep that under the rug. My favorite musical on Broadway, which I saw in real time because that's how old I am, was Jesus Christ Superstar. I love it. I listen to that every Easter and then some. Okay, I love culture as a binding force of civilization. They're atheist Jews, ardent atheist Jews who still celebrate a Passover Seder.
I'm an atheist Jew.
Atheist Jew,
right.
And you still leave the empty seat for Elijah and unlock the door By the way, if someone did walk through the door, you'd probably shoot him, okay? That seems to be what you can do these days, but you're not literally thinking that's going to happen. So there's a cultural exercise that you go through. So there's that. Also, I don't chase people down when they speak of their religious allegiances. I might ask them about it, but I'm not going to challenge them. I value the diversity of people's spiritual expression in this country where it is protected, and in the world, not every place where it continues to be protected.